Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Treasures. My name's Tracy, and here is my husband, Noel. He's in the background running our graphics and doing our cameras. Good morning. Hello, Trish, Southern Charm. Good morning. Friday morning, and I am a little bit disappointed about this weekend. I don't know about you guys. Good morning, Josie. Hello. Is it cold where you guys are at? Is it rainy? It is rainy here. It's supposed to rain all weekend long, and I have a ton of yard work to do. So I'm a little bit disappointed. Not disappointed that I can't do the yard work, but it really, good morning, Rawson. It really needs it. That my yard, it looks hot and muggy. Hot, it's supposed to rain. I wouldn't mind hot. I don't like muggy. It's just, it rained for the last 2 days. It's good. If I look at the weather, it's supposed to rain for the next 4 days. Sticky, yeah, it's just all over. I guess it's that time of year, but nothing's getting done in my yard. I'm literally that house that, like, in the neighborhood that people drive by and they're like, oh my God, would they do something with their yard? That's how bad it is at this point. I am in southern Pennsylvania. So I am just on the Maryland border. You would rather it be cold. I'll take hot over cold, but I don't want the rain, muggy rain. I don't want that. Um, Last weekend was beautiful. I should have done my yard work last weekend, but I didn't. And I'm not talking a little bit of yard work. I'm talking about I have neglected my yard since like the middle of last summer. We mow it, and that's it. Here's the story, y'all. I got to tell you the story. Totally off topic, but we're not selling anything, so we can talk. Just keep talking today. Um, so 2 years ago, I used when we first moved here, I bet South Louisiana, that part of the country is really hot and muggy. I lived in Florida for 23 years, so I'm not unfamiliar with hot and muggy for sure. So we 2 years ago we moved here. We're going on 4 years now, and I hired somebody to do our grass. But they would come with their ride-on lawnmower and they would just cut the grass and they would leave. And it was literally done in 10 minutes, which was great for them. Good business setup for them. But they didn't like get the weeds from the pavers or cut back the bushes or like the hedges or weed whack anything like or all around the edges. None of that was done. It was just cutting the grass. And I got fed up, which I thought I was paying a lot for this service and it wasn't getting done. So I was still out there having to do this. I don't like doing yard work. Just if there's anything I'm going to be bougie about, it is going to be my yard work. I do not want to do it. I am at a point in life that I would rather have somebody else do it. But used to live by Lake Charles. Oh, that's you. That's just him. I don't need to read his comments. So anyways, I got tired of paying the person because I didn't think I was getting what I was paying for. A wasted life, maybe. Well kept yard is too. There you go. I need to like put that. Can I just put that on a sign in my front yard and then people would be like, oh, okay. And like as an excuse. I have an HOA though. Don't get me started on HOA. So that they'll find me if we don't keep it up. But anyways, back to the story. I got tired of paying the guy, thought I was paying too much. So I told my husband, I'm like, I'll do it. At this point, I had never mowed a yard in my life. Okay. This was like 3 years ago. I'm like, I'll do it. This is before I realized that I don't like yard work. So I told him, like, let's go buy a lawnmower. I'll take care of this, and he's like, you're not going to like it. I'm like, yeah, no, sure. I'll like it. Yeah. I don't even think it lasted 2 weeks. I mowed the lawn once and I'm like, I'm done. Can we hire the guy back? And my husband's like, no, we are not hiring this guy. You just convinced me. First of all, you just fired him. Then you convinced me to spend the money to go buy a new lawnmower. We are not hiring the guy back. So then I started paying my daughter to mow the lawn. And I was paying her about the same that I was paying the guy. And she still wasn't weed whacking or doing any of the other stuff. So that lasted for 2 summers. Now here we are. And my husband says, now he goes. So now this is just like this ever evolving thing in my household. We had a push mower. He goes, I'll tell you what, I'll do the lawn if I can get a ride-on lawnmower. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, you're going to do the lawn. I said, because I don't like it. It's been proven. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I'd rather pay somebody. And let me tell you, I called no less than 7 different lawn companies and could not get one phone call back. Well, no, I got one back. They don't come to my area. We live out in the boonies, so we live kind of in the country, and I couldn't find a lawn company. So he's like, let me buy a ride-on lawnmower. So he buys a ride-on lawnmower. He does the lawn a couple of times, yet The all the hedges are overgrown, the weed whacking's not done, the edging's not done. I cannot get out of this lawn hell. I am in like this a perpetual unfinished lawn for going on 4 years now. So that's where I'm at. This is the whole story of my life right there. That's what consumes me. Good morning, the vintage gypsy Bree. So I know that was not like this exciting story you guys came in here to hear this morning, but you got it anyways. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about today. First of all, a little bit of housekeeping. I need to ask my neighbors who they use. Most of my neighbors, though, I don't know what's up with these people. Literally. Okay, I lived in Florida for 23 years. I came up here to Pennsylvania, never lived in snow before, and they do. These people are like psychotic. They are like have the perfectly manicured lawns, and they're out there on their own, like doing this. And not only that, I live in the neighborhood where they're out there in the middle of a freaking snowstorm shoveling their driveway. My first winter, my theory was I have a truck, I'll drive over the ice. I ain't getting out there shoveling that stuff. I learned that wasn't the smart idea either. But as you can see, I am not the do stuff outside around my house person.
And guess who did the shoveling of the snow?
Yes. Then we had to go buy a snowblower.
And now you know why she wants to move to El Paso.
This is exactly what I want. I want to move to where I have like dirt and cactus, and I don't have to worry about any of that. Good morning, Forgotten Memories. Hello, Cynthia. I don't know. I'm just not good at it. I just want to like click my fingers and have a nice, pretty manicured lawn. I am probably the worst lawn in the neighborhood, though. Probably. If you go down the street, there may be one or two others, but okay. I just want to know, first of all, I'm just curious, because I asked this at the people I do my 9 to 5, and they're like, no, this is normal. For all of you who live in snowy areas, do you shovel your driveway while it's still snowing? I love the vibe of a well-kept yard too. I just don't want to be the one to have to keep it up. Forgotten memory. So you shovel your driveway while to me, that's like making your bed while you're sleeping in it. It's kind of defeats the purpose. Because then as soon as it stops snowing, I see them back out there again doing it. I'm like, y'all have too much time. Like I do not have that much time on my hands to just shovel snow in the middle of the snowstorm. But the people I work on my 9 to 5, they're like, oh no, you have to shovel in the middle before it freezes. That's the way you're supposed to do it. Sometimes snow shoveled while it's snowing, it won't be as much weight. That's what I've heard, Ross. And that's what the people my 9 to 5 tell me. They're like, no, you got to do it while it's still going. Makes it easier for when it's done, when it stops snowing. In Maine, cuts down how much you have to shovel at the end. Yeah, I will scrub toilets any day over shoveling snow. Absolutely. So, okay. Tomorrow, what do we have coming up? What's going on in the Zoe's Treasures world? Tomorrow is our Worm Embrace show. Everything behind me, all these goodies all over here, is coming up tomorrow at 8 a.m. I do have like 90% of it preloaded. I have like, I don't know, a few more things, maybe 10 more items to preload. But if you like anything you see, you can always go and pre-bid on that. My show is up. And if someone drives on it before it gets cleaned off, it becomes icy and harder to clear. See, that's my problem. Since we both drive trucks, I was like, I'll just drive right over it. I literally went out and bought a 4x4 truck after 2 winters here because I'm like, I'm just not doing this. I had just a regular truck. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get a truck that I could drive over ice with.
We were in Florida, and she preferred to have a bougie truck that was just a regular 4x2. And then I told her, get a 4x4, and she didn't want to. I got a 4x4. And then when we moved over here, she got stuck 3 times. Yes. And I had to go take her out because she couldn't. And then finally she broke down and she said, I need a 4x4.
Yeah. I learned my lesson.
And that's when you say you need to listen to your husband.
You'll go crazy if someone drives over it. I'm like, I just park there and we just go right over it. Just go right over it. And then, y'all, you know, this gets me worked up. Snow just gets me going. Then the snowplows come by and they leave big, huge piles at the end of the driveway that you just cleared. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. Like, what are you doing? Like, we put a man on the moon. We should have better technology than leaving big old snow piles at the end of my driveway.
Forgotten memories. I drive over it, but I clean it too. So
This is all why I do not want to live. I love Pennsylvania. Do not get me wrong. Pennsylvania by far is the most beautiful state I've ever lived in, and I've lived all over the country. And I honestly think Pennsylvania is the most beautiful state. Except in the wintertime, I like to leave. I'm going to be one of them old people that's a snowbird. I'm going to end up like going somewhere warm in the wintertime. That's going to be me eventually. I just got to get to that point. I got to try that leaf blower thing. Oh yeah, those heated surfaces, I would love that. That would be ideal. Um, I got some other stuff I have to do before I would ever get to that point, but that would be absolutely ideal. Maybe some of my neighbors have that because some of them I'm like I look at their driveways, I'm like, there's no way your driveway looks that good. So okay, so we talked about warm embrace, um, flamethrower. Hey, yeah, yeah. Now there you go. Then I can have some fun with it.
there is a thought so in charm. Let's go.
Who all saw UPS yesterday? Not that I have any news. UPS is the talk of whatnot. It has been since midnight the night before. Good morning, Gretchen. Rechargeable mowers that operate. I do have that operate on their own. Oh, like a Roomba, like a mower Roomba. Oh, I need that. Now that he's shaking his head. No, I would love that. Just let it go. Just let it go out there.
She thinks it's just that easy.
Oh, oh yeah, well, that's more than the ride-on lawnmower there, Rawson. They have them for snow also. They even mow in the rain. Why now? Now I'm like, why did we get a ride-on lawnmower? Can we return it? We've only used it twice. Okay. UPS. I have no clue. I don't know. Before anybody asks, what's going on, I have no clue. We just checked the blog post this morning to see right before the show started. Still no news up there. I have Googled. Of course, Google comes back with some AI answer that I'm not going to quite trust. No official whatnot news. So I have no idea. All I can hope is fingers crossed. This is the first sign that it is coming soon. So get your big items ready.
So, for those of you who don't know, there was a pop-up a couple days ago, if you were on the app, and it prompted you to read the terms of service regarding UPS shipping. And so, if you were not paying attention and you click OK, it just dismissed the pop-up and disappeared. Now, if you click the link, it would take you to a website from UPS establishing terms of service for UPS shipping. So is this an indication for UPS shipping? Probably. Does it mention anything about whatnot? Nothing at all. I saved the page. I read the terms of service, but it doesn't in anywhere hints or mentions that UPS is coming or when is it coming. Not sure.
So that's it. I knew it would probably come up at some point today, so I figured let's just talk about it really quick, get it out of the way, and go on. So who knows? Hopefully it's coming soon and we can start selling our big items because that would be absolutely wonderful. I have a whole shelf of big items that I am just waiting and waiting and waiting to get that. All right, Josie, you said, oops, I sent it by accident, but it looks like maybe it just got cut off. You sent it too quick. I am so sorry to hear that. And I really, really, really sincerely hope that you do not give up on whatnot. First of all, bookmarks, I can have 100 bookmarks, 150 bookmarks. And I would expect when I see the bookmarks, I cut it down to about a third. If I see 100 bookmarks, I can assume logically maybe 25 to 30 people might show up. That's on average. So bookmarks, first of all, don't really mean a whole lot. It's great to have them because there's this perception thing with bookmarks, the same thing with followers. It's a perception thing that if you're scrolling and you see a show with a lot of bookmarks, it just, you as the innocent bystander piques your interest because you're like, what do all these people know that I don't? Why are all these people bookmarking it? Is this something good that I should look at too? So bookmarks don't necessarily mean that that's how many people are going to come to your show. It's just a way to save it. It's a way that I'll bookmark 30 or 40 shows and maybe go to 5 of them. And I don't do it to be mean. I just can't get to all of them. I would like to, but it don't get hung up on bookmarks.
Good point. This is vintage.
It may. It probably will as vintage. Whatnot to me has some of the simplest shipping, and people tend to overthink it and confuse it, and they add something more. Yes. Good morning, Lori. And as far as having 6 people in your room, y'all, can I get some emojis for any sellers in here who have an average of 5 to 15 people in their room? So we're going a little bit below, a little bit over. If you, when you do your shows, you have an average of 5 to 15 people, throw an emoji in there. Hello, Eye for Beauty. Look at this. Look at this, Josie. You are not alone at all. Look at all of these people, an average of 5 to 15. It's okay. I was in a show last night and it said 3 people. I was one of them. The seller was one of them. And there was probably one other person. And that seller still ran for a good 2 hours talking and selling, and they made some sales. It only takes 2 people. That's right. Lucky to get to 5. So don't be discouraged by only having 6, and it takes time. I mean, I look right here, 32 people. I am like, yes, I'm blessed that I have 32 people. These shows, for a good year, I can never get more than 5 people in a talk show. It takes time. You got to keep at it. I would ask yourself, have you gone and done? So if you're stuck at a certain point and you're like, I'm plateauing, I can't move. First of all, how long have you been on? Have you even given it enough time? Sometimes I have 3 or 4, sometimes 23. Depends on what you're selling. That's a huge part of it too, right there. We opened a show this morning. It was a card show. Guy wasn't selling anything. He was just talking. It wasn't a chat show. It was a card show. He was just flipping through cards, had 150 people in there. It's so random. It's really so random. Nobody's biting. My prices are great. I have one lady keeping me afloat. Keep at it. Keep at it. I would ask, if I were at that point, and this is what I did when I was at that point. Go ahead.
She was at that point, Josie, and many times she questioned herself about continuing or not, and there's some days that she feels that way again, and so it's a normal thing.
It's very normal. I remember when I first started, I was going to give up because it was the same thing. Nobody was buying, or nobody would come in the show. I tried everything I could think of. And I got to the point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to show everything twice. If nobody buys anything, at least good morning, Erin. At least I met my goal of showing all my items 2 times. And then once I got a little bit of traction, I'm talking just a little bit of traction, my goal changed to, okay, my goal is to stay on until I make $50. And then that changed to, okay, let's stay on until I make $100. And over time it grew and grew. But I mean, Whatnot is an instant success for most people. It is a slow, long growth process for the majority of us. The problem is that the instant successes seem to blow up, like to the point where, did everybody see what happened to them? Good morning, Tober. And you hear instant success stories and them talking, in 6 months, I made this much money. What you don't hear as often are the thousands of people that it was slow and painful to grow on the app. And it's never a huge success for most. Yeah, I mean, again, success is what you make of it. Success is based on your parameter of success, not what the guy next to you is doing. So figure out what would constitute success for you in a show. Is it staying on to a certain amount of time? Is it showing a certain number of items? Is it a certain dollar amount? And celebrate those small wins. Good morning, Abandoned Treasures. Celebrate those small wins every single show to give you that, okay, I met my goal today. I'm going to do it again tomorrow or whenever your next show is. Yeah, so the old lady's attic, I hope it's okay if you don't mind if I say a little bit. I just got a red chat. And this is very true. All of us like to look at in the vintage decor. If you think about some of the top sellers, House of Coop is going to come out of somebody's mouth if you ask who's the top seller. Love House of Coop. Got to meet them in person at the Austin meetup. Very nice couple. They just posted on their social media quick little photos of most of their first year sales. If you saw that on their Facebook post, it was $40, $60, $120, $400, $30. It was all over the board, and it wasn't a lot. It was not the House of Coop that you see today. It wasn't 600, 1,000 people in their room making, thousands of dollars in a show. It was very, very small amounts. Even they had to grow. It took them time too. Now, they had certain things that helped propel them. Wonderful. But it's a slow process, and you got to stick with it. Now, knowing that we've got to have grit, we got to have that consistency, we got to stick with it, is the next part comes with, now I need to start looking at myself, my shows, and what I'm doing. I can't wait to write that in chat. Oh, no, it was fine. That was fine. I feel like it's a slow process. It is totally Ranch Hand Finds. Why is Whatnot holding my money from you for so long? Okay, Leanne, tell me a little bit about that. I'm not sure. Are you under your 1,000 sales? Oh, did Liz answer? Okay, thank you, Liz. Because the post office is slower these days. There you go. So if you're under 1,000, everything has been delivered for weeks. If it's been delivered for weeks, I would definitely reach out to Whatnot. If all your items have been delivered, I would reach out to Whatnot. Oh yeah, we absolutely live in a time where people expect instant gratification, and that comes to being successful. Look, a lot of the newer generation has grown up in the sports era that everybody gets a participation trophy, everybody's the MVP at the end of the year. We all think that we do something and that it should be this instant wonderful success story, and it's not. That's not real life. You're under 1,000, but my items have been delivered for weeks, and Whatnot is still holding the money. Leanne, the only thing I can think of, and this, I don't know if this is the case or not. One, definitely contact Whatnot if that's the case. And then two, have you given them all of the tax information you're supposed to give them? Basically supplied them with your social security number. They will withhold funds and not pay you if they don't have the proper tax information so that they can do the proper accounting on their side, which is totally legal, and that's the way they should be doing it. Aaron says, I've been out here hustling for a year, 5 days a week, and just now starting to see some success. Yeah. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, open a claim ticket. Yeah, it does say SS Vintage. It doesn't it when everybody's a winner and everybody's an MVP. You think that's going to happen to you in real life as you get older? I wish we could rate Whatnot the way we were rated. Yeah, honestly, there's things about Whatnot that do they frustrate me? 100%. Is there things I don't like, things I want different? I just had an experience with carrier adjustments I felt Whatnot handled very poorly. But overall, it's one of the less expensive apps as far as fees goes. The shipping is definitely top notch, way better than any other app. I can sell here and turn my inventory over faster on Whatnot. There are a ton of positives. 10 months, 15K sales, still struggling. It takes time, and it does. Absolutely. Lori says, once I stopped looking at the number in my room, became more consistent, and stopped comparing myself, there you go, Lori. Thank you. Right there. Quit. Cover up that number, you guys, if you need to. Cover it up and sell like it's a room full of people. Talk to the audience, talk to the chat like there are 300 people in there and these are all your best friends. Just do your thing. Be consistent. And then stop. And like we always talk about, go back and look at yourself. Watch your shows. If you're like, nobody ever stays, why? There is a reason people aren't staying. That reason may be your product, your lighting, the experience you're creating. It may be you. I hate to say it. It may be you. There can be so many different reasons. You need to go back and start attacking each one thing at a time until you figure out what it is, and stay consistent in the meantime. Isn't that number average concurrent viewers? It's not an actual count of people in the room. Correct. Gemma, I don't think it's an actual count of people in the room. I think it varies. I think it's not always actual. I don't know exactly how they calculate it. It's pretty darn close, though. I can assume there's around 40 people in the room right now. So you also know, so that could be some, and there's different, maybe your people just haven't found you. There's different people for everybody. Some people love the drama reality shows. Some people love to be yelled at. You hear all the time, I hate when they yell chat at me. Some people love it. It takes time to find your people. I probably was on here for a good year and a half before I felt that I started getting a little bit of traction, just a little bit. It was almost every week I wanted to give up. Yep. And there's times at the beginning of this year that I was like, I told my husband, I'm like, this isn't working. Something isn't working. In January, I was like 4 o'clock on Saturdays was my anchor show for the longest time. I'm like, it's not working. And I had to go back and look and figure out what was wrong and change my time. It's always going to be an ever evolving process.
You can't give up what Liz likes. You can't give up. Come on. What am I going to do?
Yes, Liz, don't give up. I was selling, hold on, my best show ever. I had no one in the room and I was selling stuff no one wants, but my daughter and I were talking to each other and being so funny. This is just it. Coming up soon, I do have a talk show. One of these Friday shows are going to be covering how to handle situations like this.
Gretchen, you hit the nail on the head. You totally hit the nail on the head. Tracy's always thinking, why is this? Why is that? How many people are going in this place or in that place? It's not about the people that are it's going somewhere else. It's about the quality of people you have in your room. It's the quality of people you have in your room. So you want to have that quality of people.
Yep. And you don't need viewers, you need buyers. I've been in shows with not many folks, but really great. That's it. Exactly. Only takes one person in your room to buy something. That's it. 2 if you want a bidding war to happen. Monster Mom says, off topic, I woke up to an order from my bin, looked at the buyer's profile, no follow. Could it just be a brand new buyer? Possibly. Could it be a scam? Possibly. I would go ahead and send it anyways. So pack it up, ship it, trust the process, trust that Whatnot has done the vetting that they're supposed to do. If it's a bot or somebody, I used to get them where they would buy like a $5 item. And most of mine would ship to like Alaska or somewhere on the other side of the country. Ship it anyways. I had like 4 or 5 of them. Every single one of them ended up coming back to me. I reported it to Whatnot. I kept my money. I got my product back because it was like a fake address or something. Just fill the order anyways. Just do what you're supposed to do.
Yes, it is what Liz likes, but that's almost everywhere. You're going to have good days and bad days at work, no matter what kind of job are you doing. Everybody's going to have the ups and downs.
And I agree. Monster Mama, if it was $100, I would assume as more of a newer buyer, because if it was the scammers, they usually buy something cheap to see if the credit card goes through. So I wouldn't worry about it. I would just do what I was supposed to do in that case as a seller. And Liz, I agree with you. I mean, there are days, look, you guys, there's days when I look at my profits, I look at everything that's going on, I look at the time I put into this. I work full time, as many people here do, and I'm doing Whatnot every single night and on the weekends. And there's days, months when I'm looking back at my money and I'm like, is this worth it? I still ask myself the same thing that Liz is kind of putting in the chat. This is hard work. And you're not always putting up with, sometimes there's mean people. Where today our topic is handling live sale challenges with professionalism. There's challenges here. So you've got to figure out at the end of the day, is it worth it? Do you see growth? Is this moving? Did today move you a little bit closer to your ultimate goal? If that answer is yes, then you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. Growth is painfully slow, and also it looks invisible, particularly business growth. Business growth looks almost invisible until one day you wake up and you look back over the past 6 months or a year and you're like, wow, whoa, what just happened? Like, I remember 6 months ago, I couldn't make one sale a show, and now I'm making 10.
Thank you, guys.
It's just the way it is.
Thank you. It's hard to get a word when she gets in a rant. Yes, Gemma girl, I am the wizard. I'm the wizard behind the curtain. And a Monster Mama, just a thought, because she didn't let me talk. I would recommend also try sending a DM and see what happens. I mean, do the process, but send a DM and see if you get a reply.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to put yourself in the bubble and say good morning this morning?
Good morning.
So people can see who you are. Oh, he's hiding. He's just going to be the voice today. So thank you guys. See you guys answering a bunch of questions. Thank you. Please feel free. You guys are always welcome in my shows to answer questions in the chat, help answer, because I do my best, but I am human and I do miss stuff.
Not so much of a mystery. Oh, by the way, Liz, they're trying to talk me into being on the roundtable this Sunday talking about tech.
And you all.
Good morning, Lori.
Speaking of the wizard, I do have to say happy birthday to my husband today. If y'all could throw something in the chat to wish him a happy birthday. He will not tell you, but today is his birthday. I'm not going to tell you how old he is, but y'all, he's younger than I am. Makes me feel bad. But I got myself a younger man, so I'm good with that.
I'm old eye for beauty. I used to say that I feel like I'm 85 and I act like I'm 17.
Thank you, everybody. So it is his birthday. I asked him yesterday, I'm like, where do you want to go for your birthday dinner? We'll go out to dinner tonight. And he's like, I want to go to Subway. I'm like, Subway's not a birthday dinner. What steakhouse do you want to go to? I feel like I need to narrow the choices down. So.
Thank you, Liz.
All right, let's, what else are we talking about?
Thank you, everybody.
Let's start moving on. Let's talk about handling live sale challenges with professionalism, because we all like a challenge, right? Not really. We want things to be nice and easy, kind of what we've just been talking about. I know, it feels Subway. We have Subway all the time. It's not special. It's just not a birthday dinner.
See, what she fails to acknowledge is that for the entire of my life, I was either taking a test, a final test when I was in college, or I was working. So I never really celebrated.
He doesn't. He's the type, he doesn't celebrate birthdays, and I am the type that it is your birthday month. It is not just a day. It is like the whole month is your birthday month.
Thank you, Josie.
Oh, he'd be a cheap date. If I cook into Firehouse, that'd be a cheap date. Then I can go to the steakhouse.
Old ladies addict, don't give her ideas.
I like that. Okay, we all know on Whatnot we have those awkward moments.
And if I wanted to get a steakhouse, let me tell you, one of my favorite steakhouses is nowhere near here. It's in El Paso. It's called the oh shoot, I forgot.
And now you forgot your favorite. You forgot your favorite.
It's in the middle of the boonies. It's in the middle of nowhere. You can actually see how they feed coyotes over the window. That's how far in the middle of nowhere it is.
Pink Elephant, are you in El Paso? That's where I want to move to.
Oh.
Hello,
Cattleman's, that's right.
Cattleman's. Yes.
Cattleman's Ranch.
We went to Cattleman's.
I love Cattleman's.
Ranch Hand Fine says she didn't celebrate hers either. We went to Cattleman's when we were in El Paso. It was a lot of fun. That was a good restaurant. Blew me away. I do need to I need to kidnap him and go to El Paso. We need to go catch a flight. That's an idea. That is definitely an idea.
Yep. That's right. That's one of my favorite steakhouses.
Good morning, Swamp Chick.
Good morning, Swamp Chick.
A 2-mile line on Valentine's Day. I would believe it. That place was amazing. Okay. So challenges. What are we talking about? Awkward moments, misunderstandings.
Good morning, Medic Girl.
Good morning, Medic Girl. Things that get put in the chat when you're trying to sell that are inappropriate, rude, just shouldn't. Southern Charm. Thank you so much. You absolutely did not have to do that. Thank you. I am like speechless at that. Thank you, Southern Charm. I will make him have steak or seafood or something expensive tonight.
Ooh, hold on, because that didn't quite finish doing what it was supposed to do. Give me a second. Here we go.
It just flashed. Is it supposed to be? Oh, there we go. So what Liz like says, things that come out of my mouth that I tell everybody not to say. Yes, all those things that happen. Yes, you are, Southern Charm. Yes, is it the same as Cattleman's Roadhouse? Is that the same? Is that the same restaurant? Rawson's asking is Cattleman's. No, Ranch and Fine says no. Okay. So, what do these challenges do? They serve a purpose for us, right? They help us grow. How many times has something happened in your room, you weren't prepared for it, and then after the show, you're like, okay, now I know better. Now I know how to handle it next time. That's the only way I've learned through all of this is something happens and I'm like, oh shoot, that totally derailed me. But then next time, you better believe I'm ready for you. Come at me again with that same thing. I'm ready, right? So we're going to talk about what are some of these challenges, what are ways we can overcome them, and some other points of view around those whatnot challenges that occur during your show.
Southern Charm, is this payback for dinner?
And let me tell you, if you have never had a challenge like we're going to talk about, it will happen to you on Whatnot. It is bound to happen. You're going to get a troll eventually someday. You're going to get an angry customer in your chat someday. You'll get just somebody being rude. You're going to get trauma dumped on someday. Something will happen eventually in your room. So you're better off just kind of thinking through this ahead of time. If this happens, how can I respond? You can ignore it. You can ignore it. You can address it. I have a couple strategies. I have one main strategy that I think is really good, but there are so many ways you can cut on the topic. There's so many ways that you can attack these.
Miss Marie, I know. I like Jeff a lot.
The biggest thing, trauma dumping is the worst. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about how to get over that. The biggest thing is being professional through it. It is customer service. So professionalism is like customer service with a pulse. So that's kind of what we're going to look at it like today. You can be warm, you can be human, but you can still stand steady and strong, right? We're professional with a pulse. We're warm, human, but I'm going to stand strong in what I believe. Part of that is setting up policies. We're going to talk a little bit about policies. But first, let's talk about the main thing you need to be. The main thing, calm. The calm protects your reputation. At the bottom line of all of this is your reputation, how you react. People in your room, when the talk is going on Reddit and the talk is going on Facebook, they're not going to remember and talk about what happened. What they're going to remember is how you reacted to it. Thank you so much for your purchase from the bin. So everybody is not going to see, oh, that person was so rude. They may acknowledge that, but what they're going to remember is you either handle it like a champ or you flipped out and acted a fool, and now you're the talk of the town. So staying calm above all else is what protects us. And that is really hard to do. Staying calm is probably the most difficult part of all of this, because I don't know about you guys, but when I feel I've been wronged in any way, when I feel somebody's rude to me, somebody's disrespectful, I have that fight or flight. I want to fight you. I'm going to win. I'm going to show you I'm in charge here. That's what goes through my head. That's the feelings that start welling up inside of me, is like, don't you dare do that to me, right? But we can't do that. We have to, okay, and then we're going to come up with some phrases that we can talk about. It's that staying calm that really shows your true professionalism throughout the show. I had two friends fighting in a live. I didn't notice till it was too late, and of course couldn't replay the chat. Yeah, it's one of the reasons to keep up with our chat, right? But there's ways to do it. I'm going to give you guys some ideas, and then hopefully you guys are going to have ideas too of things you've done and ways you've handled it. So we're going to get there. Think about this though. Why calm is so powerful? Cue the customer service voice. Exactly. Where you're just, you got to put that smile. We're going to talk about smiling is going to change your voice too. So emotions are contagious. If I get riled up, if I get going, the whole vibe of the show changes. The chat, the audience, everybody's going to get riled up. So how I respond is going to guide everything else. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the tone at the top and how that affects everything in your business. The same thing in your show. You are the tone at the top. How your energy, your calmness, and those two can exist. You can be calm and be energetic at the same time. It's the manners in which you come across. All of that affects what's going on in your show. So how you're reacting to them could really change the trajectory on how this whole thing happens. The audience, everybody in your room is watching for leadership. They're taking their cues off of you. Do I need to attack this person in the chat? Do I need to block them too? Do I need to do something? Do I need to defend my seller, one of my favorite sellers I'm sitting here watching who has somebody rude talking to her? So how you lead it, they're watching how you are leading to see how they should respond at the same time. You had a troll tell you to get a real job. So these are the type of things we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about. We're gonna get there. Let me talk about some ways, and then we'll talk about examples. But remember that, because I'm gonna bring that example up.
You can always go with my method. It's just shock and awe.
Okay, enough with your picture. That thing gives me nightmares. Okay, calm. Here's the other thing about being calm. Calm buys you time. Such an important point to think about how you want to handle these. Yes, absolutely, Britishly vintage in advance so that we could figure out, so we're not caught off guard. Unfortunately, most of the times I've been caught off guard and it's been, you know, okay, what do I do now? And I'll tell you about some of mine. We're going to share in a second here. But calm also buys you time. Calm gives your brain a few seconds to go from being reactive to making a good decision and getting to that state where you're answering appropriately.
I know, right?
I know, really, and just say that's what I have to wake up to every single morning. Thankfully, no. So a lot of people think calm means staying quiet and not holding true to yourself. That couldn't be farther from the truth. Calm is not just keep my mouth shut, don't say anything. No, calm is standing your ground in a professional manner. That's what that means. So here's some of the things we need to do. I can handle the rude, trauma, dump, all that, but how do you handle the creeps? We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about some methods here. Just give me 1 second. We're slowly inching our way. So to respond calmly, what are some of the things that we're talking about when we say respond calmly? Acknowledging the buyer. Now, it's not always, this isn't just a one clear-cut way. I'm going to talk about some different ways. Obviously, one clear-cut way is to ignore whatever's happening. But let's face it, we've all had that person in our chat that they don't just make one comment, it's one and then another and another and another. There are times when ignoring doesn't work, that we have to do something. And going back to what Britishly Vintage said, being prepared ahead of time is what helps us get through those times. So so being calm means acknowledging the buyer. It means when you're staying calm, you're protecting the room. Buys you time, like we said before, it buys you that time for your brain to go from reactive, I'm going to protect myself, to let's make a good decision in this moment. And it keeps the show moving. By all means, at the end of the day, we're here to sell stuff. We're here to keep the show moving. If you think about this in a retail environment, what do? They usually don't let that loud, angry, belligerent customer stand at the customer service desk for very long. Smart customer service people will take them and say, let's come over here and talk in the corner. Let's go over here to this office and talk. Let's move it out of the way of the focus of everybody. That's our job here on Whatnot. We either need to remove them from the room or we need to divert the conversation into another manner. So how can we do some of this? First thing to do when you feel that fight mode coming on, slow your voice down. And all of you, I'm sure, if you have children, particularly teenagers, have done this. Slow your voice down and use fewer words. You do not need to over-explain yourself. This is your show, your rules, your policies. I invite them to co-host. Yeah, normally then they'll back off normally, because a lot of times people feel this that it's okay to hide behind a screen name and say things that they would never say if they were face to face or had their real name attached to it. And unfortunately, this is a social app, and that's part of what we have to deal with on a social app. Keyboard warriors, absolutely. And then we move to the next step. So we slow our voice down, we use fewer words, and we move on to the next step, whatever that may be. Clarity, check, messaging later. We'll get to it. So let's talk about what are some of the things we've seen, and we don't need to go into super, nothing graphic, no bad words, but what are some of the things we've seen, and we'll talk about ways to get over it. We'll talk about, give each other ideas how to get over it. And I'll share a couple of mine where you guys have time to type and think of something you've seen and maybe a way that the host overcame it in a good way. I had a time somebody came into my room to antagonize me. You all know me. I'm very vocal. I will speak out against bad practices that I don't like on Whatnot. I had somebody that I was speaking out against a practice that they had. They came into my show later in that evening and were just asking questions. And they weren't rude. I couldn't call them rude, but it was done in an antagonizing way. And other people who know me in my room were like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? Like they saw it too. I see that. Thank you. And I acted, you know what I did? You're just another person in my room. And I talked to them just like they were anybody else. I knew what they were doing, but I didn't let it show. I didn't let it get, let them know that they were getting under my skin. I just addressed their comments like, oh, really? Oh, yeah. Totally. Oh, thank you for saying that. Like I would anybody else. kind of took the whole, wind away from them because they weren't getting the reaction out of me that they wanted to get. So Leanne says, on my very first show, I had someone in my chat telling the room that everything I was selling was fake, which was not true. There you go. So if we have that, everybody saying it's fake. Thank you so much for your opinion. However, I do quality checks on all of my items. And if you'd like to discuss this any further, we can take it offline. DM me. And then move on and don't give it another thought. Don't acknowledge them anymore. Aaron, I had a person call me terrible slurs. It did throw me off. I reminded them they can swipe, and then there you go. If they're getting, now there are certain times, if they are getting nasty, like insulting your people in your room, to me, that's an instant boot from my show. Depending on what it says, it may even be an instant block, depending on the severity of it for me. Absolutely. And we just address it. We treat everybody respectfully here. Thank you. You can come back at a later date. Block or boot. You acknowledge it. You do take your action and you move on with your show. That's the most important part of it. For me, I get asked to try on, and then I find out it's a guy trying to imagine me and his wife. Yeah, to me, that's crossing the line. If you realize this is a stalker creeper, that's a block for me. I wouldn't even waste time. That's almost ignore block situation, in my opinion. Now, what Liz says, I would trust that my real buyers know how to tell. I have there you go. I love that, Liz. So what are some of the sentences you've heard people say that you were like, wow, that was good. That was good. Like some sellers. One of the best things that I have ever heard that I have now used in my own shows is, was it Fundamentals or Leslie Reworker's Passion? It was one of the other chat show hosts. They're sellers too, but that I listened to is one of their chat shows I was on. And they said, when somebody trauma dumps, when somebody puts something terrible in your chat, like, oh, my house just burned down, which actually happened to me in my chat one time. My house burned down. My dog died. It's, oh, Bob, I'm so sorry. My prayers are with you, or my thoughts are with you, whatever your feeling is. Everybody, let's throw some hearts in the chat for Bob. All right, Bob, all of us are thinking about you. Now let's get back to what we were selling, right? So putting the hearts in gets that up off your screen because you don't want that hanging over your show. Was it Natural State of High that said that? My husband saying it was Natural State of High I heard that from. I knew I heard it from some smart person. Let's see. Vivian says, it really throws me off for a bit, though. How do I calm yourself down? Here, we're going to talk about, I'll skip to it right now. How do we calm ourselves down? I have right here. If you feel that adrenaline spike, because you're on camera, right? So it's not like you can just be like, I'm going to walk off camera and take a minute. It's not like you're in an altercation in your home where you can be like, I'm going to go sit in the bathroom and breathe until I feel better. People are watching you. Liz, this is what Liz does right here. I ask everyone to share their shows while I take a drink. That's it. So what I'm going to say is along the same lines of what Liz does. So you can see when Liz needs to collect her thoughts, think about something, just needs a moment, she'll pick up her water bottle. Hey, everybody, share your shows. And she'll take a quick second. Everybody's busy sharing their shows. It feels natural, but it's giving her time to, okay, what's next? Maybe it's a transition to something else, but it's her time to get her thoughts in the way that she wants them before she proceeds. Same thing for you. If you feel that adrenaline spiking, put your hand on the table. Wherever you're at, put your hand on something, one that grounds you. That it's this, okay, I'm steady, I'm good. It's a physical thing. It works. I don't exactly know why, but it works. Slow, deep breath. If you need to do the Liz trick, y'all share your shows real quick. I need to grab a drink of water. So put your hand on the table, get yourself grounded. Deep breath, take your drink, and then come back and smile. It is hard to tell somebody off when you're smiling, unless you're Southern. Southern people have a really good knack at that. But it is hard to be aggressive or angry or whatever when you're smiling. So ground yourself, that deep breath, take that moment and smile and respond in whatever way. So doing that gives you that moment to go from reactive to decision making. I'm so bad. I was in a show where two huge sellers were fighting. I missed the beginning, so I bought something so you can watch. Y'all, Old Ladies Attic, we all kind of like a little reality TV. I don't know if I would have bought it, but Yeah, I mean, we all like a little reality TV sometimes. That's why it's so popular. Oh yeah, that not hospitality, but that southern like insults while they smile at you and you walk away. You're like, wait, was that a compliment or an insult? Those are the best. I wish I could harness that. Um, yes, and follow it up with the bless your heart. Exactly. How about some phrases we can use? Good morning, Gigi's. Are you the queen of it? Oh, I watch some. There's like TikToks and stuff where they have some of them, the women on there. I'm like, I wish I could do that. I just wish I could have that skill. I'm too blunt. Okay. Some phrases depending on the situation. I want to be fair to you in the room. You have somebody, hey, can you bundle? Can you bundle? Can you run this? Can I take requests? Can you do all these things that you're like, you can say, I hear you. I see what you're asking, but I really want to be fair to you and the rest of my room. So we're going to do it this way. You're acknowledging them. You're not ignoring them, but you're sticking strong to your policies, your procedures. No, what does it translate to?
Yes. Yes, we do.
I mean, I know what I think it translates to, which is
Yes,
like not a
Ranchan.
nice term, but
And Ranchan finds it's completely true. You start with darling.
you're so stupid. Yeah. Yeah. Like, what in the hell are you thinking with some other like cuss words in there? How about acknowledging somebody? Let's take this to our DM so I can give it the proper attention. You may have somebody come in your chat complaining about an item that broke that you sent them. One, the chat's not the place to do it. For some reason, some buyers on here, some people on here have zero etiquette and zero sense about what you should and should not put in a chat. And yet we have to deal with that. So let's figure out how we're going to deal with it, right? You're a Southern girl. Thank you for asking, sharing, but we got to stick to the schedule. Feel free to send me a message. Covers just about everything. It does. You're acknowledging them. You're not ignoring them. Let's get to the DMs. A lot of what I'm going to say is, thank you so much. Send me a DM and we can take care of this after the show. Because your goal there is to continue your show. Your goal there is basically to shut them up and keep moving, right? And I don't say shut them up in a way to be mean or rude, but if they're being rude in your chat, you're just trying to stop it.
Liz, you forgot to add the rest. Thank you for asking, sharing, but we gotta stick to the schedule and feel free to send me a message on the way to the darkest hole.
Thank you for bringing that up. I will message you after the show so that I can give this the proper attention it deserves. I would suggest practicing a few standard responses that you can have on the ready. Just have them there just in case. Pin it up if you need to, because these situations will occur. And I don't want to scare off any new sellers like, oh my God, what am I getting into? I'm going to have people like this in my room. I've had this happen like 3 or 4 times in 2.5 years. Some people, for whatever reason, like they're like, oh, I've had all these trolls. They've been on for a month and they get trolls and they get. I was very lucky. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not that popular. The trolls don't like me. They'll say I said hi. There you go. But let's think about part of why our response is so important. Our professionalism builds trust. Trust is what kind of runs everything we're doing here on Whatnot, because people can't hold the item, they can't smell it, they can't taste it if you're selling a food thing. They have to trust you. So as a seller, they're buying part of you, right? So we have to preserve our trust. One of the things, people like this are lurking everywhere at grocery stores. Absolutely. They really are. They're everywhere. It just, unfortunately, on Whatnot, it's because it's there in black and white. It's written down. Words feel, when they're written down, they almost feel like they hurt more or something. I've never had a troll. Lucky or boring, I guess. Kind of want one. I know, the old lady's attic. I felt that way for the longest time until I finally got a troll. But I was on here for like 2 years before I had a troll. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Not even the trolls don't like me? Like, obviously, not the right train of thought in any way. When you take it to the DMs and the person keeps going on about the issue, how do you cut it off without leaving them more angry?
If you seek Amy, that's even easier because you now have a very personalized attack and you can report that user directly to Whatnot and you have proof of it.
Exactly. The main thing is keeping your calm and your professionalism. We're talking a little bit about the professionalism right now. Take it to the DM. You offer them a solution. It's if it's a problem with an order, I can give you a partial refund. You want to return it, I can give you a full refund. I'm so sorry that happened to you. You know what? You can put in a claim through Whatnot. And you can leave it at that. You can be nice. You can offer a solution. And if they continue to want to attack, they're not even looking for a solution at that point. Then it becomes very obvious they are just looking to argue and be mean. You don't have to engage. You have the power to remove yourself from an argument and say, please take this up with Whatnot, and delete it. And if they continue, then you do like my husband says, then it's harassment. Oh yeah, your friends are your biggest trolls. I love discounts and Southern Charm. They do, but they do it in the most friendly, nicest way. So they're good trolls. They're the good kind. Let's see here. We're talking about trust. So keep in mind, one of the things, I worked in the nonprofit industry for a long time. And one of the things we would always say is, do we want, and before we made major decisions, I was in the C-suite, and when we talked through strategy or things that we were doing, or maybe decisions that could have been looked at as controversial, we would always say, how would this look if it was on the front page of the paper? So any decision we made in the CFO C-suite, we would, CFO, nonprofit C-suite, we would say, how would this look if it was on the front page of the paper? How does that translate to Whatnot? How does this look if it's screen clipped? Somebody is, there's at a moment's notice, and you never know who's doing it. They could be recording you. They can take screen clips of what you're doing. How will this make you look? How does your response, the way you're handling this situation, look if it's clipped and put on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be? So keep that in the back of your head as we're taking our breath, taking our drink of water, composing ourselves. At any moment, somebody can clip you. Who here has seen some crazy clip of a Whatnot person and you're like, never in my wildest dreams would I've ever replied that way? I've seen them. They're out there everywhere. There's people who are going to be in your room that are not always your supporters. There's people in your room that are there to, because maybe you piss somebody off and they're there trying to gather info, whatever it may be. There are people who are there for the sole purpose of doing bad things. They are all over TikTok. So we're making sure how we're responding, what we're doing, that go ahead and clip me. All of my shows are on YouTube. I am very conscious of what I say when I hit go live, because we multicast to YouTube. It is there for anybody and everybody to see at all times. So pretend, if you're not multicasting, that you are in your head, that, okay, this is a record of me at all times. Yeah, we've all seen those like memes that say, I grew up in the 70s. Thank God there wasn't Facebook then. There's no record of what I did when I was a teenager. I'm one of those. So unfortunately, now there is record of everything we do. So we've got to keep that in the back of our heads. You want to be the same seller on a good day, a bad day, a frustrating day, a grouchy day, a day that you're excited. It doesn't matter what is happening, what's happening in your room, what's happening in your life. The minute you hit that go live, the minute you are here doing all of this, you want that to be that same reliable seller in all those situations. Now, the people who know you, can they start to see, oh man, you're really tired today? I had a show like when I was out of town, when we were in Orlando, that I was so exhausted that, like, literally in the chat, they're like, Tracy, you're exhausted. Like, I can see you, you look tired, but you still bring the best of yourself, right? I like when sellers keep it on brand. If you're funny, handle it funny. If you're spicy, be spicy. I like that too. Keep it classy. Exactly. That's it. You bring who you are to it. So if I'm sitting here telling you my advice is going to be very kind of like straight-laced businessy type advice. But if you're the spicy, if you're I love discounts, this is why I think we're friends, because opposites attract. Lysandra is very spicy. She will say something like, I can't even make up something she would say. Totally. I agree 100%, Liz. Maybe asking them to rewrite their comments so everyone in your show can choose to follow you or not. I may ask them, now depending on the comment, I may ask, hey, Sally, did you mean to say that? Can you clarify that for me? That kind of puts somebody on the spot. That's like in real life, if somebody says something, you're like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you explain that? When they're like, you're stupid. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you explain that? It makes them stop and be like, oh, I just insulted. Now I got to explain the insult. It puts it back on them. So that could be a way to handle it. So Some other professional phrases here I wrote down. Great question. Thank you for asking. I do this a lot to buy myself time to think of an answer. You'll see in my chat shows, I'll probably end up doing it subconsciously without even realizing it today. Great question. Thanks for asking. And while I'm saying that, I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is how I need to answer that question. Your mom. Yes, your mom. I'm glad you brought that up. They're bringing something up that maybe they think is rude, mean, that you don't want to hear. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about that. Or I'm glad you brought that up. It's a great point. I'll message you after the show. Okay. Again, how are you? What is everybody else in the room? It's not just between you and them. It's between you and them and everybody else that's watching. Let's make sure you feel good about what you're buying. If is that a crack? Is that this? What's wrong with that? Well, let's slow down. Let me show you again. I want to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're buying. Don't let them rattle. Yep, that's their mission, is to get them to rattle you. Thank you for the comment. Can you, this is what we kind of just said. Thank you for that comment. Can you explain what you mean? Please enlighten me. Yes. Hello, the peanut farmer's wife. I wrote them down. It's not like I have them off the top of my head, Ginger Badge. I mean, I'm working off notes here. Ask them to co-host and solve the issue with the dance off. Yeah, who can be mad dancing off? Of course they're going to decline, but there you go. Like, then that is a great humorous way. If you are a humor person, it would be like, you disagree with me? Dance off time. Come on, I'm going to co-host you. Something like that. I love that. If I pre-listed items, I would love to say, everyone get your pre-bids in while I address this. And then you have a good chat. So I think it goes back to, because a lot of the advice I'm seeing here are coming from people that I know have been selling for a little bit. Yeah, that ones that have had to deal with this. So all of you new people or newer, come up with some ideas. I'd lose it. I dance like a white girl. I'm here. This is a joke in our house. I'm not getting racist, y'all. It's a joke in our house. My husband's Mexican, Hispanic. We've never hid that fact. And there's quite often we have cultural differences within our marriage. Things about like the way we were raised from childhood, the way our cultures handle different holidays, stuff like that. Quite often I have to tell him, you married a white girl. You knew it. When you married me, I didn't hide it. You married a white girl. Anyways, the most important thing is to not let it stop you selling. There you go. You address it, move on. We're going to talk about the red, yellow, and green light system here to address it. We're getting into systems right now. I often say, help, I'm white. I can't get down. There you go. Does your daughter say the same thing all the time? Yeah. Okay, it's always like, well, you don't like spicy food, or you don't do this, or you. I'm like, you married me. You knew what you were getting. So, systems, let's me and my systems. Ironically, systems also help reduce your emotional decisions. What are we talking about? System? Having something ready to go. It's kind of what this whole thing, think about it ahead of time. This is where your psychology and your behavior kind of come together. So this is like the deep down backbone of everything we're talking about. So systems are what you use so you don't have to decide in the moment out of frustration, fear, embarrassment, pressure, people pleasing. So instead of having to react to any of those emotions, you have something in place already to go off of. That's your calm. That's what you're working from. That's your system that you're going to use. One of the systems that I like to think about is green, yellow, and red light. So if you think in your head, green, yellow, red, green, you acknowledge. Green is, I hear you. It's a green light to say something. You're acknowledging. Hey, Bob, I hear you. Yellow is you clarify. Let me confirm what happened. Hey, Bob, I see your comment. I'm acknowledging. I'm clarifying. I see your comment. And then red, take it offline. I'm going to DM you after the show so that we can resolve this issue. Or I'm going to DM after the show so that we can talk about this. So green, yellow, red. Acknowledge, clarify, take it offline. Over and over again. If you just think that when something comes up, you do green, yellow, red, and you move on and you keep on selling. And we've had a lot of examples of different things you can say. So we talked about I wanted to mix the behavior with the psychology. So the behavior is that the frustrations, embarrassment, all of that stuff. So you don't want all of that to cause bad behavior, right? So the psychology part is when you're stressed out, your brain wants relief now. Think about it. Anytime you've been in an argument, you've been stressed, something's bad happened, maybe you're running late. The first thing when you're stressed, your brain wants is instant solution. We need to fix this right now, right? Well, when somebody puts something in your chat, that's stress. That's what you feel instantly. We want to fix it in the moment. But if we don't already have a plan, that's when we overreact. That's when we get a little just too salty there. And I've been there. I've done it. It's not like I'm some saint here because I've been way too salty at times. Are we over refund? Maybe it's not even in a live, but somebody messages us that something broke, and that stresses us out, right? Any decent seller here, if you get a message that something broke, that's an instant stressor because we want to give good customer service. We want to send you the stuff you want. So that instantly in your mind, put in some emoji in there. If you've ever got a message that something broke and your first reaction was, I'll just give them all their money back. I think mine almost every single time. That is my very first, because it stresses me out, something broke, and I'm like, I'll just refund them and make them happy. Is my first reaction. Forgotten memories, you're the only one that agrees with me. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Are they lying? I think that too, but my first reaction is to let's make this go away. Let's fix it. How do I fix it? Just give them all their money back, make them happy, right? Because I'm working from stress. I'm working from a place that I shouldn't. But definitely not as much now, but in the beginning, even now, I think that may be my first instinct, but then I'm like, okay, let's think this through. What if you know it wasn't broken when you sent it and they tell you they received it and can tell it was broken and repaired? I've had that happen to me. I have sold something to somebody. They sent me a picture and I knew it was perfect when I sent it. I got a picture of it broken and water drops on it. So and they told me that it broke when they opened, and while they opened it and it was broken. But then you washed a broken item? First of all, it was clean when I sent it to you. Probably you dropped it in your sink is what I'm thinking. But you know what? I assume the best. And Liz went into this a lot, on one of her shows, and I've repeated what she said before. No matter if they're lying or not, put yourself in their shoes. You bought something, you spent your money, you took the time to be in the show, you waited for the item to get there, you anticipated the item and you got it and it was broke. Whether they're lying or not, put yourself in their shoes. I'm so sorry that happened. You can file a claim through Whatnot. You can return the item to me for a full refund, or I can give you a partial refund if you'd like to keep the item. Sometimes depending on the price of it, for me, this item was like a $10 item. I'm like, I'll just refund you. Sometimes it's easier just to do the right thing and make them happy and move on, but note the name down. Note if this happens again and again and again, right? Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Just be the better person. It happened to you yesterday. Yeah. For trauma dump, that is a lot to handle. If anyone wants to private message support I love that. Y'all right there. Y'all need to copy and paste this onto your sticky notes. Trauma dumping. For those of you who don't know what trauma dumping is when somebody comes in the chat and says, my dog just died. My house, I literally have somebody come in and tell me their house just burned down. My car won't work and my washing machine give out. I don't know what to do. And my husband lost his job and I'm just, that's trauma dumping. First of all, the chat is not the place to do that. I love this. That is a lot to handle. I feel for you. If anyone wants to private message support for whoever it is, please do so. We need to keep on with the show. Love it. That's also the one that my husband reminded me, Natural State of High says, let's throw some hearts in the chat. Our prayers, our thoughts are with you. So many buyers are using AI to make items look broken. I've been reading. I have heard that too. So you can always ask for more pictures. It is your right to always ask for more pictures if you don't feel the ones they sent you were proper. Ask for a picture of them holding it, whatever, or a different angle. She said she put in a claim to Whatnot and it only let her ask for the refund for the taxes paid on the item. Does it? It doesn't. Metagirl, that does not make sense. Not at all. If there is seriously a broken item and they put a claim in, they will get refunded the item price, the tax, and any shipping associated with that item. So at that point, you're like, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to you're going to have to take this up with Whatnot. I do not handle that side of Whatnot. And this is one of the things that's great about being on a platform and not actually in business on your own, like at a brick and mortar. We can rely on Whatnot. We can say, I'm sorry, I don't have access to any of that information on Whatnot. You're going to have to talk to them. Cheaters have always been here. We just need to know what do we do? So you are refunding Red Brick Cottage. It depends on who refunds it. If you're in the customer service program, it was beta, but now they've made it more permanent for a lot of us. We do the refunds. And people who are not in it is still handled by Whatnot. Eventually, everybody will be doing their own customer service. But even those of us in it, just in case you guys don't know, even those of us that do our customer service, if you message me, the first thing you should do is always message a seller. Hey, this is what happened. That is just the proper, respectful, nice thing to do, is message a seller first, give them a chance to, at the minimum, apologize, right? And let that, so that also that they know and they can evaluate, was it something that I did that caused this? Then those sellers are going to tell you, hey, thank you so much. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. You have to put in the claim through Whatnot. Whatnot then messages me and allows me then to do the refund. But I can't even initiate a refund until you press that Whatnot button first. Would only the taxes be refunded if Whatnot funds were used for the full price item? That could be, Rawson. That could be. If they didn't actually spend their cash, there's nothing to refund them. Myself, a lot of there are so many more great folks. Exactly. Midwest keepsakes. That is the best attitude to have. I try to take the approach that most people, they're here. 99% of the people here are honest to goodness people that they just want to buy stuff, or they're doing their best job they can to sell stuff, that they're not out here to scam you. They're not. Unfortunately, the bad examples, that's what you're going to hear about. In my 9 to 5, I run events. I do a lot of trainings, but one of my main duties is to run conferences. And we do these surveys after the conferences. I can have 400 people go to a conference, and maybe 200 answer the survey. And the majority of the people who answer the survey are only the ones who have something to complain about. If everything went right, they're happy, they're cool. I don't need to write you. I'm good. I liked my experience, and they move on. What you hear about are the bad examples. Unfortunately, we just don't hear enough about all the good stuff that's happening. So, have a pause phrase. This is like Liz's drink of water. Have a pause phrase ready for yourself. If you need to give yourself a moment to think, have a pause phrase. Let me check on that. Let me have everybody, like, this is what Liz does. Share your shows while I take a drink of water. It's a pause phrase. Gives you a moment to think. Give me a minute. Give me one moment. I want to be accurate, so let me double check that. Have a something that gives you that chance. And then here's the other side. This is the other thing that I think a lot of us don't think about ahead of time that we need to do, is to have clear policies. What are your policies? Okay. Do you say no cancellations? Do you say no request? Do you always run an order? What are your policies, and what do you do to enforce those? So do you put them in the show notes? Who here, the first thing they do when they go into a show, reads show notes? I know it's not going to be as high as I want it to be. I'm on a mission to change this. I love this. I love that everybody's saying me. Because I asked this question before, and it was more like, there was a lot more no's. And the show notes work. There you go. Clear policies. Yeah. 50-50. Always read the show notes. Always read the show notes. It could be a bunch of baloney. It could be a bunch of nonsense, but you won't know. You don't know what's in there unless you open it up. And most people put their policies in the show notes. Penny said they're laughing at I do. People put it in the chat, so they're laughing at my notes. Yeah, see, you can also, and I love that, Old Ladies Attic, you can start encouraging people to read your show notes by putting something funny, putting a coupon code. If they go in there once and they're like, man, that made me laugh, or oh wow, I can save some money if I just check their show notes, then you start to train people to read your show notes. Even if people don't read them, it's easier to say read the show notes and to repeat it over and over and over and over again. Exactly. So put your policies in there, and it doesn't have to be a book. You do not have to write a million rules in your show. It can be very simple, but policies protect your energy, your brain power of having to say over and over. It also just makes it clear. So let's talk about some policy examples. Condition policy. You can put something in there. I always show call outs to the best of my ability. Feel free to ask me questions. You can put no request if you don't take request. I don't have a lot in mind. Let me pop mine up. Right now, I have no promoting unless invited to do so. That's my one big rule. No promoting unless invited to do so. Bundle policy. You can have a policy on whether you bundle or not. So there's a lot of different policies. Do you go in order? Hey, we run everything in order. Or we do request at the end of the show. Whatever it is on how you want to run your show. So then when people start asking in the chat, hey, we don't do that. Check out the show notes. Like Willis says, just go check the show notes. You put your policies in the description of each item. The only thing, Missy, that I don't like about that, and this goes back to a point that Green 13 makes all the time, it takes up your real estate. So when I pin something, and honey, you're not running any of our giveaways. I'm going to start a giveaway. Our giveaways are CEO affirmation cards. There's one running. But let me pin something. Let me show you what happens. When I pin something to the screen, the more words I have, the higher that goes and the higher my chat goes. I'm eating up all the space to show my product, to show my items. So I really want what's down there at the bottom of the screen to be as small as possible. I want the least amount of words that still accomplish what it needs to accomplish. So if I need to tell somebody, if you're doing clothing, the pit to pit, the length, whatever, very, very little. I'm seeing more prevalence of sellers actually putting that in the title with almost no description so that it even makes that go down smaller. Liz says, I recommend emojis for bullet points to help people find the info they need. I like that because people are super visual like that. Absolutely. And it's a quick, they recognize it and I love it. I don't use emojis, but I may steal that from you. So the only thing with putting it down there is just be careful how much real estate you're using up. I'm going to unpin this. This is why you always hear me I'll pin something and I'm like, I got to get rid of the words. I don't like the words on the screen. Is there a way in my buy it now it's there in your buy now when you're not in a show? I mean, yeah, I'm still one for my auction. Anything I'm going to pin, that's just the way I believe in, is keeping it as small as possible. And keeping the descriptions. Remember, you guys, this isn't eBay. We have pictures and we show things live. That's the beauty of Whatnot. We do not need to write a book for our descriptions. It's not like eBay that's our only source to sell the item. Pictures and a good description. We have more options here. So we can reduce the description and use the visuals and use the live feature to sell stuff. I have some, I've even shortened some of these. Let's see if I can find a really long one and show you. I think I've shortened most of these, but look at that. This is even longer than the first one. For me, it's coming to about right here. And then there's probably chat for you guys above that. So this is taking up almost the whole screen at this moment. And now if I was trying to sell you something, it would be hidden behind all those words. So let me unpin. Okay. Rude behavior. That could be a policy. Kindness is expected in our show. That could be, your policy is kindness. Your policy is rude behavior will not be tolerated. You will be blocked or you will be removed from the show. Put it in there. Let people know this. And particularly, I would focus on the ones that are your big ones. We may have 10 or 15 things that we don't want to happen in show. I wouldn't list 10 or 15 things. How would you feel if you open up a notes and there's 15 rules for you to follow in that show? I'm like, look, I'm all about control. I'm all about you running your show. That's a lot. That's how I would feel. Pick your top things. Pick what is the most important or the things that you see have been happening the most in your show to address. Like, don't do these things. I wish we could see the chat on playback. Yeah, I think that would be good. You can screen record your show to watch your chat. I know a lot of people do that. And Jennifer, yeah, if you have to swipe though, I don't know. At one point you would swipe, everything leaves. And then for a while, the bid button would stay. And then that went away again. So it's never a guaranteed when you swipe it away that bid button's going to stay there. So, all right, let's keep going. What did I get on my pages? Let's talk about confidence. I know you're like, what in the world does confidence have to do with dealing with challenges? And we talk a lot about confidence. Confidence as a seller, confidence in your pricing, how you present yourself. You could be the most scared, timid, introverted person and come on with confidence. You can do it. It's not confidence is something you create. It's not something you're born with. Confidence, a lot of people say, oh, that's not me. I'm just not a confident person. You create that confidence. So you create your confidence, and we're going to talk about how it applies to conflicts. Kind of a fake it till you make it, but I don't even think it's faking it. I think if you have a system in place, you have your show flow down, you feel good about your pricing, you know your opening, you know your closing, you know how you're going to handle these challenges. That's your confidence comes from the systems you put in place, the structure that you build, because you can rely on that system and that structure. Rawson, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. You can rely on that system and that structure so much that you don't need to be shy, timid, or afraid of what's going to happen. You know how this is going to go. You are directing this. That's confidence. Confidence is, I have put all the steps in place. I have done everything I need to do and set this up that I can come in here and not worry about it. This is what people who perform for a living, when they go on stage, a ballerina doesn't go up there and perform a beautiful ballet because she just is winging it. She has put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work on this. The same thing with a star football player or a basketball player. They just don't go on the court and do it. I look at my daughter at cheerleading. She gets 2.5 minutes on that mat. 2.5 minutes is what people are seeing, but they're not seeing the 6 days a week and the hours of every single day that they're at the gym practicing these skills over and over again. And that's what we're doing. They're manufacturing. All of that is building the structure and the system to get out there and do it right. And that's what you're doing as a seller. You're building all those structures in your system so that when you show up confidently because you've already done all the hard work. You've done the stuff that matters in order to do this and do it really well. And that confidence is going to show through in how you handle stuff. If you let it rattle you, just like riding a motorcycle, seat time helps with, yes, the more work, the easier it gets. And it applies here just as much as it applies to any place else. So when you are confident in your show, your pricing and all of that, particularly when you're facing challenges, you don't over-explain. If somebody says, oh, well, puts new chat, you sent me an item and it was broke. You don't say, oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe USPS. I packed it right. I know I put 10 things of bubble wrap around it and I double boxed it. You don't over-explain. You say, hey, Sally, thank you for letting me know. I'm really sorry about that. DM me afterwards so that we can handle this the appropriate way. I'm not over-explaining to you because I know my systems. I was confident in the way I packed. I'm confident in everything I'm doing. When you do the cheer routine without music due to some tech failure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. If any of you have ever been to a cheer comp, just side note here, what Forgotten Memories is referring to, not quite often, but at least once in every competition, there is technical failures and the music stops. The whole stadium, and they do this in like big arenas, like where you have concerts and stuff as most cheer competitions are held. The whole stadium will clap and count 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, like on beat, so that that team can keep going. And they know it. They don't have to have their music. They're confident to perform because they're counting beats. It's pretty cool to watch because it's like everybody comes together and does it for them. If you've ever seen it, it's just a really cool thing to watch and to be part of. Okay, I don't argue. If you're confident, you don't need to argue. You don't need to, when somebody says, well, can you bundle this? That's what you're supposed to do. Other sellers bundle this. Or why don't you lower that price? Other sellers sell that for $4. Why are you selling it for $10? You don't need to argue with these people because I'm confident in my pricing. I say, I price according to quality and condition. That's it. And move right along. You don't take the bait. When you're confident, all they're trying to do is to bait you to get a reaction. You don't have to take that bait. When you know what you're doing up here, it's easy to ignore it. It's easy to be like, when I had somebody come on my show antagonizing me in a nice way, I wasn't going to bite. I knew what you're doing. You don't have to engage. The cheer environment, so Jennifer, the cheer environment is a true community when you're at cheer comps. Cheer moms are brutal. I'm just saying, they are brutal. And you don't have to convince somebody who's already decided to misunderstand you. Okay? This is a big point, you guys. It is not your job to convince somebody who has already decided to misunderstand you. Okay? They're going to come at you. They have zero intention of compromise. They have zero intention of understanding your point of view or anything else. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I still don't take, there you go. Don't take the bait no matter what. So I'm going to say it one more time. You do not have to convince somebody who has already decided to misunderstand you. Keep that in mind. Don't engage. Acknowledge, clarify, and move on.
Good morning,
That's
Miss
it.
Echo.
Hello, CG. Good thing I was a cheerleader 50 years ago when you just showed up for a game and that was it. Old Ladies Attic. Yeah, it's a whole new world. Cheer is a whole new world. Are you an ex-cheer coach? I didn't know that. Yeah, cheer moms are, and I'm a cheer mom. I say that as one of them. All right. This is why your confidence works. Because conflict will not occur. Conflict doesn't escalate until somebody senses that they can pull you into it, and someone into the debate. The minute your confidence wavers, that person on the other side is like, "Ooh, I got him. And that's going to spur them on to keep going. So you being confident, acknowledge, clarify, move on, ends it right there, gives them zero power. You are taking all of their power away from them. And that just diffuses the whole situation. They cannot escalate at that point. And that comes from your confidence. It's a key on this app, not just in this, in everything. I am telling you guys, the C words, it's all the C words. The C words are the ones in consistency and confidence are going to take you far on this app. Consistency in everything you do and confidence in what you do. And again, confidence is not something you were born with, because you'll hear people say, oh, they're such a confident person. They're not born with that, because I can guarantee you they are there shaking in their boots, or they're there thinking everybody thinks I'm a fake. I'm just going to keep going. They're just as human as we are. Yes. You want to say something?
Hey, Liz.
Crap handling.
Hey, Liz. If you, excuse me. Hey, Liz, if you don't like me, I guess that's a you problem, not a me problem. But I do like you.
That's such the elementary school. All right. So publicly praise, criticize in private, or handle things in private. So same thing. If any of you have ever worked in the corporate world, we never discourage, we never correct in public. It's always, those are great ideas. And then you go to their office on the side and say, hey, you had some good ideas, but let's talk about how to handle yourself in a meeting. Or so remember, I go back to the point of everything you say can be clipped. Pretend that this is going to be on the front page of Facebook tomorrow. When everybody opens their Facebook, that video of you is going to be there. What do you want that video to represent? Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks on you. So there. You mean you can't call somebody out on live about how awful they were on a train? I would find that incredibly entertaining, CG, but probably not the best for you and your professionalism. I can guarantee to everybody, and you would probably get more people into your room. But that's probably not the way to do it. I think you're hot snot on a silver platter, but you're really a cold booger on a paper plate. Oh my God, that is the best. That is the best, like, non cussing, non bad word insult ever. I have to like tell my kid that because I'm sure she would use that. I've got to give that to her. Think about the tone test, you guys. When you're going to respond, think about this, the tone test. If you can't say it calmly, don't say it. If it's not something that you can say with some nice Southern charm, don't say it. So if you can't smile through it, probably best left in your head. And I say this from experience because too many of my thoughts come out of my mouth when they shouldn't come out. If you can't say it calmly and with a smile on your face, it's probably best left in your head. And if you don't want it replayed, we already talked about that. Your husband just looked at you. Yeah, I'm that person that just comes out. I was on a phone call with somebody yesterday, very nice person. I really enjoy talking to this person. We talk about whatnot. And they're like, Tracy, you probably shouldn't be saying certain things that I talk about. They're like, you probably shouldn't be saying that so much. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I probably needed to hear that. How about this sentence? I'm happy to help you, but I'm not going to argue. So go back to the DMs when you take it offline and they just want to go on and on. I'm happy to help you, but I'm not going to argue. You're offering solutions. And you know what I have found in the 2.5 years, Liz says, I need to stop doing afternoon shows. I find once we hit the PM, I have way less control over emotions that come. Oh, me too. I'm so tired that I'm just going to be like, I ain't got patience for this. My patience level, as the day goes on, my patience decreases instantly. I have found in my 2.5 years that if I come to stuff, every situation, for the most part, and if I come with solutions and being helpful, but in the most professional manner I can, I would say 99.9% of the time, I have got really good responses back. That it's not been, well, you're a terrible person. Why would you do that? You're a terrible seller. I will never buy from you again. Maybe somebody's out there thinking I'm never going to buy from her again, but I haven't had them argue with me about it. I haven't had them tell me that. May I ask something? Yes, you can. Oh, I love controversial stuff here. You know that. I may not be able to answer, but let's see what you have to say. Go ahead, answer it. I'm okay.
I'm gonna patent that, Liz.
What did you say? Hold on. What is he saying? So you think you're the last cold Pepsi in the fridge? Watch. All right. So think about confidence like this. Okay. Here's another way to look at confidence. I thought this was kind of good here. Confidence is a thermostat, not a thermometer. You set the temperature. You don't react to it. So confidence is a thermostat, not a thermometer. You set the temperature instead of reacting to it. Okay? I buy all the time from 2 sellers that I have to return or get a refund from. They handle it great. So yeah, if you're handling it right, you're going to preserve that trust. You're going to preserve the relationship, and they may come back from you. But what's the worst that can happen, right? Rossin, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. Is that 2 today? Today's your lucky day. What's the worst that can happen if you handle something professionally? Let's read. So there was a seller that had a whatnot glitch and made a mistake on the price. The chat went crazy, yelling at people who bought and said everyone should be blocked. Had a whatnot glitch and made a mistake in the price. Interesting. So you were in the room. So is your question like, what should you have done? The seller asked everyone who bought to return, to do a cancellation. So the item sold for less than they should. Oh, like the seller said, oops, that's a mistake. Please don't bid. And people bid anyways. I can only tell you what I would do. I've actually had something similar happen. I have gone in to edit a price or something particularly. I have had this happen on my reverse auctions where I do drop the price down to whatever I'm running it for. And then I scroll down I use my scrolly on my mouse. And if you haven't clicked out of the price field, it will scroll the price down. And I've hit run at a lower price. My personal opinion on that, that's my mistake. I made sales, I eat it, I move on, and next time I better know to click out of that box. Next time I know, how do I prevent that? That's my mistake. That's a seller mistake. You honor it. Yeah, and be happy about it. Y'all, I made a mistake, but boy, did you get a great deal. Yeah, exactly. Keep your chin up and keep moving. I would not ask somebody to cancel that. Yep, 1,000% your fault. And there's a lot of good sellers here saying the same thing. It's you do what's right. So, a couple of key things: calm tone, clear next step, and consistent policies. You guys make sure your policies are consistent. Here's the other thing: it happens when you honor your price and move on. Yep, you just need to make the pricing mistake as an advertising cost. Bought you a new buyer. There you go. You just think of it like that. Just bought me somebody's new. You are going to look better. I cut this thought short earlier. Is what's the worst that can happen? If you lose some money, if you do the right thing, okay? If you are putting yourself in the best light possible, you're being confident, you're being professional, you can still stand strong. You are putting yourself in the best light possible. What is the worst that can happen? They don't come back. There isn't a worst. You lose a customer because they don't like your policy. You lose a customer because you say, "Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Let's talk offline about that." You lose a customer because you are trying to answer their problem and help resolve their problem in the best way possible. That's a them problem, not a you problem. You probably don't want that customer to begin with. An impromptu giveaway. There you go. So there is no worst case scenario here when you handle things with professionalism. Every single challenge that comes up, whether it's something in the chat, a refund issue, no matter what it is, if you are doing it polite, kind, firm in your policies, there's not a worst case scenario. And then ran a million giveaways. I felt it was a little off to do. Oh, wow. And then that was a little off, Rochelle. Excuse me. So, and every time something happens, it's a perfect time to debrief and move on for the next time. Here's one you're going to see all the time. Somebody coming in, this has happened, surprisingly, it hasn't happened yet today. It's happened twice in my last two shows. Somebody will pop in and in capital letters put a big old self-promotion, and then they probably leave right away. We boot them out anyways if they do that. That's rude. How are you going to handle that? It will happen to you eventually. How are you going to handle that? I wanted a sense check. Yeah. For doing that, but wanted to see what the chat. Exactly right there. So you made a good point. The seller lost you as a buyer because of how they handled it. If you are going to yell at somebody, you're going to get mad at them because they asked for a refund. You're going to yell at them because they asked about something in the chat when it was against your policies, because it's still going to happen. No matter what policies you put in there, you're still going to have somebody who doesn't read your show notes, and they're going to ask you, how are you going to handle that? Right? Will show how, will build or destroy the trust that people have in you. All right. And then afterwards, after your show, is the best time to debrief these situations. Figure out what happened. I was going back to the self-promotes in the show. I've had that happen twice now. Ever-changing treasures, congratulations. I don't like self-promotions in the show. The drive-by promotions. There you go. Thank you, Forgotten Memories. Yeah. Forgotten Memories floods the chat with emojis. And the people, the regulars in Forgotten Memories room know that. Oh, sorry. I'm sure that was loud on you guys. I'm sorry. I talk with my hands and I hit the mic on accident. So they'll flood the chat. I address it. Hey, we don't allow promotions. The only time we like promotions is when I ask you to do so, and you can be guaranteed for everybody else in the room, when I mention you, when I call out your name, it's because I believe in you. You move on. Clarify, move on. All right, that is all I have for now. What else do we have to talk about? Because we have time. I'm going to run another giveaway. Let's. What are some challenges that you guys have faced that maybe we haven't talked about? Let's talk about any other live selling challenges that we may not have mentioned that you're like, yeah, but I'm seeing this, or I feel this, or I have experienced something. One instance, if I was feeling too strong about it, what other sellers would do. Yep, I think you're. I think you're good. I would react in the same manner as you, if that means anything. Um, there was a UPS trial run happening, but it's closed. That was the other thing about it. Oh, on the UPS thing, some people have UPS. Plant sellers have UPS. So UPS isn't a foreign concept. Can you repeat the last hour and a half? I missed it. Sure, I love discounts. Let me go ahead and say it. Actually, thank you for asking. I love discounts. We actually stream, multicast everything to YouTube, so you can go and check it out there. There you guys go. See?
I love discounts. The worst part is that I actually can.
Acknowledge, clarify, and move on. If someone self-promotes, I'm going to say, we have a new friend who didn't read the policy. So everyone here, share your shows while I did. Oh, Liz, I like that. I love that. We have a new friend who didn't read our policies. That is very Southern. That is that Southern thing coming right there. Are people buying less? I don't think so. Does anybody else think people buying less? Also, I heard Whatnot has a rule about self-promotion. They do. It's against terms of service. It is against terms of service to actually do that. Now, if the seller says, hey, everybody, put your shows in there. If you're invited to do so, totally okay.
Yes, Sassy, we hope so too. We hope that that's an indication that soon we'll have another option for shipping.
How do I get motivated to do shipping now instead of watching Netflix? Very hard. But you know what I did? If that's an honest to God question there, I have a TV above my shipping table, and I play shows in the background to make the time go while I'm shipping. Is people me? I'm not buying less millicents. I had a show that accidentally deleted 100 preloads. I'm so sorry. I created a new show and cloned everything and went back on. Oh, that's tough. That's really rough. I don't think that's a challenge there's any solution for, but just to move on. That's a lesson learned challenge. That's one of those ones where you're like,
now
I know better.
There's a thought in forgotten memories.
There you go. Reselling Roundtable, for those of you who don't know, I think if you're here, most of you probably know, but Reselling Roundtable is a podcast we do every Sunday night. Myself, Zoe's Treasures, I Love Discounts, which is Tony and Lysandra, and Green 13, which is Jeremy. We come together. We do a podcast on YouTube at 6:30 on Sundays. We'll put it on the screen. Please go and subscribe, follow us, join us. It is a live podcast, so you can ask questions, and then you get more advice than just mine. So you get to hear other people's opinions, and we don't always agree. Surprise, surprise. We do not always agree. And every now and then something super controversial will come out. And then I get a ton of messages about it. And it's kind of cool because then I have clips for Instagram. And those are always my best performing clips. So thank you, Gretchen. We are up to, what are we on? Number 18 next week. This week, Sunday, we are talking about technology, from easy to hard. The sad part is when I get flustered, I do just delete and start over. Makes it less confusing for me. Got to learn a new habit. Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. I'm kind of like, I'm done, forget it. But I got to learn to work through it. As a buyer, I appreciate the reminder in the show notes in a nice way. So many people get mad at the seller, and it's not. Exactly. Use your show notes. You definitely utilize show notes. I think it's a forgotten thing. It's an overlooked thing that most people don't utilize. And Liz said it earlier, if you use the show notes, you don't have to constantly repeat your policy 50 times throughout the show. Here's another thing you can do. If you watch Green 13, he has a mat, and on his mat, it says no request. So his camera faces this way. He's selling right here, and it says no request right there, as visible as anything. That's another solution. Talking with a friend, she had a seller contact her about a broke item, said Whatnot would only refund 25%. Never heard of that. She said it happened to her twice. That's interesting. I've never heard of that either. Has anybody else heard that? I want you to know why you do X, Y, or Z. Just check my. I like that too. It gives them a little background. It makes it feel like you're just not laying down rules. That's kind of like dealing with a teenager. Is like, no, you can't be out after midnight. This is why. Here's my policy, and this is why I set my policy. You can import your notes from your last show. You can't. And Ranchan Finds, congratulations. You got that giveaway. Forgotten Memories makes a great point about notes. If you don't want to have to retype your notes or copy and paste from something else, you can always just import them. When you open your show, you click on notes, and then I can't do it in here, but there's like a little copy, and it brings in your last notes. I do that all the time, and then I just change my shipping usually. If they make too many claims, it could be. I had somebody, and I'll tell the story, and this was kind of like a challenge that I had as a seller. And I talked about this before. I had a buyer that they were very sweet. The communication was nice and kind. They were not rude. They weren't mean. They weren't belligerent. They weren't any of those things that you would think, I don't like this person. They were kind. They were sweet. They were respectful. They answered timely. They did all those things, all the right things. However, every single order, there was something with a problem with it. I lost my coupon code. Can you send me another one? This coupon code doesn't work. This item, you didn't tell me that there was a tiny chip on this obscure part of this item that honestly, I never saw it. But it doesn't matter what it was. It was every single order to the point. And when they would communicate with me, again, they did everything kindly, sweetly, nicely. So I started to feel like, but they're being nice. They're not being malicious. They're not being mean. So I can't just, stop this. But it got to the point when I would see their name in my room, I would get stressed because I knew I would start, when I would run something in my head, I'm thinking, don't bid, don't bid, don't bid, thinking about that person because I didn't want to deal with what I knew was going to come after they got their item, no matter what it is. So I did. Liz, I ended up blocking that person. That was a challenge that I had. And that was a unique challenge in the sense that they were doing all the stuff as far as being kind and nice. You have to draw a line somewhere. That's where your policies come into place. Where is those lines on these different situations for you? So that you can just easily say, nope, we're at that line. I've got to stop this.
Treasure of the Heart, Texas. Well, a lot of people have replied. It kind of derails the show. But not only that, you have to think about the what happens. If you accept a request, you're just basically paying attention to just one person. And maybe just one person is interested in that one item. What are the chances that more than one person will be interested in the same item? Probably not many. So if you cater to requests constantly, what you're doing is you basically hindering yourself on a good run, and it's taking time of your show to be able to fulfill those requests. Now, people are going to get used to being catered to that way. And then what happens is you're going to end up with people just wanting certain items and not others. So it's going to be difficult for you to be able to run a proper show and probably make a little bit more profit if you continuously cater to those requests.
And this brings up the point of being consistent in your policies. If you say no request, stand strong in that. Be consistent. Don't do requests just because, I Love Discount's going to come in my room and I'm going to be there. They're one of my besties, so I'm going to do requests for them, but I'm not going to do requests for somebody else. You have to be consistent in it and stand strong across the board. If not, you're instantly breaking down trust with everybody. It's going to look bad on you. What is the difference between the Ledger to Leadership and All the Books bundle? I want to purchase one of those. Thank you for asking. So the Ledger to Leadership is actually a 12 chapter book that teaches you accounting. So it goes along with my Monday night Ledger to Leadership accounting shows that I do, but those are also on YouTube. So you can follow along each chapter. So we do one chapter a week. That's Ledger to Leadership. The other books, the quarter 1, quarter 2, 3 is about to come out in a couple of weeks. Those follow along this show and the tax show that I do this evening. And those are more workbooks where they give you the 5 bullet points, space for you to write your thoughts, how it will apply to your show, and a couple of extra CEO type questions in there. That's the difference between the two. Thank you for asking on that one. At the end of my shows, you can scan what doesn't sell and ask for request. And request is a one that you really want to think about what your policy is on that. And I've changed my point of view on request over the last few months.
Ginger Patch, the other thing that she failed to mention is that if you buy the bundle, the quarter 3 and quarter 4 that are not out there yet will be included on that bundle.
Yes, correct. They're all, you can buy them individually or bundled for a better price. Prism House of Fabric, congratulations. You got that giveaway. Thank you for being here. What does Sassy say? Sassy Vintage Chick, I have no issues with request. I usually know if I have it, and if I don't, ask sellers in the chat if they do. Also creates activity in the chat. I have changed my opinion, and I'll tell you that after we read this question. Is it wrong to talk to my regular customers when someone new pops in, or should I do? No, I think you should try to talk to as many people as you can. Just naturally, we're going to talk to the people we've made friendships with. Like, we may call them out more. Why? We're more comfortable with them. We know if we could be silly with them or push the buttons a little bit with them. So we have that relationship. But you should try to talk to as many people. You may not be able to address every single person in your room. I find it very difficult. I do try to acknowledge people, but it's hard. It's going to be hard to talk to everybody. Do the best you can. However, be conscious of the fact that if you're only talking to one or two, everybody else is going to feel left out.
Sassy, I actually find it interesting, and I think it depends on the show format that you set up and the expectations that you set up. I watch a seller late at night most of the times, and what he does is he scans the table and shows the audience what he has on the table, and then he takes requests at the moment. After that happens, if there's no other requests, then he starts running other things and he puts it in front of the camera. And then people will come back, or if they join late, they come back and they'll say, can you do a scan? He'll do another scan. He'll take another set of requests. And then if there's no more requests, he continues running whatever items he has prepared. It's quite interesting to watch.
Here's my kind of thoughts on request and evolution. Again, this is requests are something you figure out for yourself and what works best for you in your business. I used to be completely open to request, 100%. My thinking is, if somebody is going to take the time to ask in my chat, they're this close to buying. I'm going to remove that barrier and help them make that buying decision. As I moved on and kind of grown in my own kind of thought process and business strategy, I do feel requests can be derailing to a show. I think they can impede, particularly when I have a specific show flow. I line my items up in a certain order. I want to do them in a certain way. And the way that I have those items is because I'm following that bell. I'm building up. I'm having the appetizer, then the main course, and I'm coming down to dessert. So I don't want to go to the main course before we have our appetizer. So I've structured my show in a certain way that I want it to follow. Request mess that up. But you can think about, how do you structure something and still be receptive to requests? There's ways to do it. I've started ignoring my favorites in DMs so they know I'm next time, and I feel special. Oh, introducing. Okay, not ignoring. I read that wrong. I've been in rooms where I've asked questions several times and it's gotten looked over because they are catering. Exactly. And it doesn't make you feel like you want to go back. You want to be. Remember, engaging. What do we hear? Be engaging. Be engaging. Engaging means involving your audience, involving the chat.
Good
not
morning.
Just your favorite people in the chat.
Good
so
morning.
You try to do as much as you can.
Good morning, Shop Happy.
Good morning,
If
Shop
she would
Happy.
only take a breath.
I just keep going. I just keep talking. What do you think about running items out of order if you have a pre-bid? So that depends on you as a seller. The way I choose to do it is I take a lot of time to curate the order in which I want my items run. I will run the first couple of items on my auction list. This is for my Saturday morning shows, my big shows. I'll run the first items and then I move to pre-bids. I may only have 1 or 2 pre-bids, but I almost always can guarantee you that when I say, okay, now I'm going to focus on pre-bids, I still do those pre-bids in order. It's not about which came in first or not. That's it. I lose my train of thought. So I run those, let me finish my thought. Thank you. I run those pre-bids in order. And what happens is by the end of the show, almost every item got a pre-bid because the people see, oh, she's just running on pre-bids and I'm still doing it in the order I want. But the audience is like, oh, she's running on pre-bid. So it makes them feel included and part of it and kind of like they know I'm getting to it quickly enough. And then if there's any items left at the end, that does two things for me. One, I'll still run them. But two, it also tells me which items were the least popular and maybe I don't want to buy again. So it gives me that data for my sourcing for the next time. Now, when you talk about taking request, Suze, you got that giveaway. Congratulations. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I'm going to hijack the show.
As
I'm going to
always.
hijack the show and I'm going to invite you to check this out because I think this is great. Now,
Shop Happy.
Shop Happy, she's been advertising. I think the due date was yesterday or today. And she's going to have the challenge, the Happy Habits Challenge. 7 days, no excuses. I think there's a lot of cool people that are going to be doing that. I invite you to check it out. I think it's really, really cool.
And she does this frequently throughout the year. So if you missed one, you should be able to get into it next time.
So yeah, as you can see, she's got already a bunch of Happy Habits scheduled. So don't miss out. I think it's going to be great.
And what's cool about challenges are they push you outside your comfort zone a little bit. Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that accountability to somebody else to just push us a little bit outside of our comfort zone so we can grow and learn and maybe discover something like, wow, I am capable. I can do this. And that's what some of these challenges do for you. I do not feel that all challenges are created equal, but that's a good one.
Oh, you're doing it? I love discounts. That's awesome. And Rachel or Rachel, absolutely. The audience is helping the seller grow, and that's undeniable.
If you guys are doing that, the Happy Habits Challenge, throw some emoji in there. I Love Discounts is doing it so people can follow you and know who is doing it if anybody in the room is. Tuesday involves,
Tuesday involves me.
Interesting.
So I got more. Oh my God. You're giving more work?
You're not, but you're going to follow those who are. Awesome. I want to go back to request for a second here. I've got to the point where I don't take random requests. I will tell people we run in order. Please place your pre-bid. We are focusing on pre-bids. So that lets them know, hey, you want to kind of get you in there? Go do that. But I also feel if somebody's going to request something in my bin, they are literally this close to buying it. I'm not starting my bin items at $1. I will say, give me just a second. I'm going to run this item or this item, and I will grab that item from the bin to show you. And I will run it if you like. Most times, the minute you bring it on camera, they just buy it out of your bin. They just want to see it. So if the request is for a bin item and you have access to it, you are on the verge of earning that sale. They just want to see the physical item instead of a picture. That to me doesn't derail it as much because I'm not worried about a bidding war. I'm not worried about only one person wanting it because I'm going to start it at the price I have it listed in the bin for anyways. I'm getting what I need out of that. However, when you're running an auction and they're requesting items, that may be the only person who bids on it. If you're starting at $1, that can hurt you. If you're starting items at a price that you're more comfortable with, then it probably doesn't matter. It's okay if you only get one bid. So you have to figure out how those requests work in with your pricing structure, your show flow. When I'm just running stuff at $1, which I do, and one person requests something, they may be the only person to request that. But if I get the chance to bring it up organically in my show flow, talk about it, I increase my odds of having more people bid on it when I'm starting at $1. Oh, that's cool, Jennifer. Thank you for letting us know. We'll check that out. So taking requests has to go back to how does it fit with you and your structure? I pull for the bin too to sell. I buy from others' bins a lot, and every once in a while, yeah, that's just it. If somebody is going to actually take the time to request to see something in your bin, they want to buy it. They're not going to request to see it. They just need to be able to see it to make that final decision. And that's what I call removing the barrier to buying. And we want to remove as many barriers as we can to make it as easy. So when you are setting up your policies, you need to set your policies for how your show goes to make sure that it's running in the way you want. But keep in mind, do those policies create a barrier or remove a barrier or help the show move smoothly? Like, why is this policy really there and what is it serving? Don't just say no request because your favorite seller says no request, because that might not be the right choice for your show. How do you feel about saying you won't run unless more pre-bids? I personally don't like it. I don't like that. I 100% disagree with that approach. Is it allowed? Is it totally acceptable to do and whatnot? 100%. The people who do that are not doing anything wrong. From a business owner's perspective, from my perspective running auctions, I will not do that. I don't agree with it for me. I think if I put something in my auction tab and I open it up for pre-bids and I start it at $1, then I'm going to run it. If I wanted it to be $15 before I run it, then I should have started it at $15. I think it's disrespectful to the buyers who take their time and put the pre-bid in for a seller to say, it's not high enough yet. You're not giving me enough. That's how I feel about it. Are they doing anything wrong? No, they're not breaking rules, and it's their business. They can operate in the way they want. I choose not to participate in that. So I can see other people agreeing. Shop happy. To me, it's just not a good thing. If you want more, it's like telling your buyers, you're not doing enough for me. You're not bidding my item up high enough. Don't start it at $1 then. Start it at what you want. If you're going to start something at $1, $2, $3, you need to be happy if that's what it sells for. Bottom line. Almost like we're going to do one more giveaway here. Okay. Almost like people who start their show and then say oh my gosh. Exactly, Shop Happy. Do not do that, you guys. If you want to give time for your room to warm up, like you open your show and you get 2 or 3 and then another couple ones trickle in. Rochelle, I see your question. I'm not ignoring. I'm going to get to it in just a second. If you want time for people to come to your room, don't say that. Don't say, we'll run stuff when I get 20 people. I'm just waiting. What am I, chopped liver over here? I'm not good enough for you to sell to me? Have you ever gone to a brick and mortar store and the door's open and you go in and you buy, you're at some boutique or whatever, and you pick up a couple of items and you walk up to the cash register and they're like, I can't check you out. We haven't had enough traffic come in our store yet today. Or they don't even open the door in a boutique until there's 10 people lined up outside. No, that's unheard of. It's absolutely ridiculous. I have zero. It blows my mind, the people that will actually get on here and do that. I'm like, what in the heck are you doing? Talk. I Love Discounts is a perfect example of this. You guys want to see how to let a room warm up and give time? Go to an I Love Discount show at the beginning. Tony opens the show, camera facing. Now they sell jewelry, okay? So normally the camera faces a jewelry. At the beginning of the show, the camera's facing Tony. He's talking to people. Hey, everybody, welcome in. It's the Tony Talks. It's become a thing that people expect. 15, 20 minutes, he's jibber jabbering. 86 minutes later, and 86 minutes later, no, he's jibber jabbering, but he's talking. You know what they're doing? They're waiting for people to come in the room, but they're not telling you that. They're engaging with you. They're asking you about your life, your day. So there's a good way to do it, and then there's that bad way to do it. Everybody has walked in the door for the last month. Yeah. You're giving a compliment. Can you just come to places I buy and explain? Thank you. I think you guys, you all know, if you've been in my show, you know me. And I take a lot of what we talk about, the business concepts we talk about here, come from brick and mortar stores. Brick and mortar stores have been around for hundreds of years. They figured out a thing or two. There is no reason to reinvent the wheel in what we're doing here. The core business lessons that they follow, the foundations of business that they use, work for us. We just have to tweak it a bit because our delivery method's a little bit different. why are we trying to be so, oh, well, that's not, we're different than that. We're going to do it this way. It just, the other side of this, and what you'll see if you watch Whatnot enough, you will see that people come to Whatnot and it's so easy. You don't have to do anything. We On my husband Zoe T Mod's account, he's not a seller, but like every single time, all he has to do is click a button at the top. It says, "Do you want to sell?" And it's like instantly you can sell. There's no training. There's no nothing. People don't realize that they've started a business. Now, you don't have to be my like super way over here, total business perspective. You can have fun. You can enjoy it. It can be an engaging, social thing, but they don't realize that they're a business. So they don't apply any of the common sense things, such as, oh, I'll sell when I get enough people in here. They do stuff like that because they don't think about it as a business. And that's, to me, detrimental. That's where we start to get, all they sell is garage sale stuff on Whatnot. And you get those bad comments. So personal opinion, it's another one of my soapboxes. I have this whole urge I want people to understand that this is a business. So what else is on your mind? We're going to let this giveaway go, and then we're going to find somebody to raid. We have to actually go do some stuff, and I've got my 9 to 5 today. Tomorrow, you guys, don't forget. Here, I'll move so you can see really quick. It's what we got going on. Warm embrace. We got some cool stuff over there. Oh, he's telling me to come back. Yeah. So we have our warm embrace going on tomorrow. It is preloaded, so you can bid. Let me show you my battle of the best item, you guys. I can't use my side camera because we don't have it turned on. He's giving me I can? Oh, no, I'll just do it this way. Look at this. Now, I'm just going to hold it up like this. This is
Give me 1 second, because
he gets mad
terrible
when I do it this way. All right, how would you like to show this item?
Give me 1 second. Let's do it proper.
Oh, he's going to come over here and get on camera. Look at him.
No, I'm not.
He's always bossy. I know. It is Wedgwood. So it is a brooch. It is a sterling silver Wedgwood cameo brooch. Oh, I know. This is what he's doing. He wants to use this camera.
We're going to do it the proper way.
Tober, congratulations on that giveaway. In the box.
Congratulations.
There we go. Look at that. This is my battle of the best item. Is that not gorgeous? You would be too if you worked for free. So it is a brooch. The back of it's not all the way through, but it has the original paperwork, original box, sterling silver. Super excited about this one. This is going to be on Battle of the Best. I do not have it listed yet because I'm behind. I just, there it is. It's not listed because I'm behind, but it will be there for bidding hopefully soon because I have my preview show coming up. So I got to get on the ball and do what I need to do.
Now, do you understand why it has to be proper? You wouldn't be able to see it the way she was trying to show it. It's just a disservice to the item.
Do sellers get a list of people in the room and how long they're there? They do not get a list of people in the room, but you get a count. So if you go into your analytics, you will see your total viewers and our total concurrent viewers. So that's what is the highest number you had consistently at one time and the total amount of people who have come through your show. And this is eye-opening to some sellers because they don't realize the hundreds of people that actually come through their show. You have, in every time you do a show, I want you guys, particularly if you're new, take a minute after the show, go look at your analytics and look at your last couple of shows at how many total people. If that number says 300-400, maybe even more, that's 300 chances that you had to grasp their attention span. 300 chances. That's huge.
What happens if someone is in for 5 seconds? They're just in and they are counted as part of being in the show.
They have to be in for a certain amount of time. And I don't know if anybody knows what help.whatnot.com actually says there's a certain amount of seconds for them to be counted. But I don't know what it is. It may be 5 or 10, maybe 30. Go ahead.
Well, even if it's just 5 seconds, you have just that little bit of time to catch their attention.
Mm-hmm. So I saw a lady the other day. I felt so bad for her. She was new. Had like her numbers would go 2, 1, 3, like it was very low numbers. But this is how she was selling it. I'm not doing this to make fun of her. This is in a way to show you, this is the importance of understanding that people are constantly coming in your room. Every time you see that go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, it may not be the same person, right? But she was standing there.
And then watch what happens with the sound as soon as she turns around.
I'm right here. I'm not going away. And she had an item and she would just be looking. Oh, hi. I'm selling this today. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. And then she would see the number drop again. And it was like that. And every time that I would pop in there, I sat and watched for a little while.
And do you see the sound?
Sorry. And I felt so bad for her. I wanted to say something. I even thought about reaching out in DM. But you know what? There's that fine line where you're like, am I just butting in or am I really being kind? So I didn't say anything.
So I want to point out, when you are selling, if you are doing it with your phone and you turn around and you start talking, you're not talking to the mic. So your audience is barely going to hear anything you say. So it is very important that you have to be very, very attentive to turning around and talking to the audience. Because half of the time, if you turn around and you have terrible sound, it's gonna be lost in there at some point.
Exactly. So he gets mad at me. When I'm here, you can hear me perfectly. When I go like this, you can barely hear me. That's a lot of people running on a phone is what happens. There are mics you can get that you can plug into your phone. So then you can walk around, you can grab things off of shelves and people still hear you the whole time. And with that, I think we're going to go raid. We've gone through everything. Let me do our CEO affirmation. I always like to do that at the end of the day. Before I do that, we are going to be back on tonight. What are we talking about tonight? We're going to come back tonight at 7 and we're talking about refunds, chargebacks, and income adjustments. So it kind of fits in with challenges we face, but we're talking about how to handle refunds, chargebacks, and any income adjustments from an accounting and tax perspective. And we'll probably answer questions just on a whatnot type perspective on, how do you deal with those things. And Sunday, Sunday Reselling Roundtable, we're talking technology. So with that, let's go ahead with our CEO affirmation, and then we're going to go find somebody to raid. Our affirmation today is, I handle challenges professionally and track adjustments accurately to protect both income and reputation. And y'all have a great week.
Liz is on.
Liz is on. Let's go see Liz. Ducks in the chat. Thank you, Forgotten Memories. Throw some ducks in the chat when we go and see Liz.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And don't forget, you can come by tomorrow. She's selling a lot of stuff.
Uh-oh. Cannot start raid. Let me try again. It's not letting me raid Liz. All right, let's try again. Hold on. We're getting there. She must have just got off.
Nope.
All right. We're going to go see. We saw Tia last time. Let's go see Green 13. Let's go see some jewelry.